Hey everybody, we've made it. We're back here. Episode 3 of Around the Basket. I'm Daryl, and I'm joined by Jeremy. How are you doing?
Good, Daryl. Doing great. I got a chance to kind of throw on my Edga hoodie and maybe get a little bit warmer now and then cool myself off with a nice Prairie Fairy Sea Change beer. So I'm feeling good about that, buddy.
Nice. You're repping all the good the brands now. You're on point
Yep.
today. Well, Around the Basket, episode 3. We
Mm-hmm.
missed last week's episode because we were down in Cold Garden. We spent a little bit of extra time down there, so we didn't get an episode out last week. This week, we would like to say that we are once again. He's part of the furniture at this point, Jeremy. We'd like to
Yes.
welcome the record-breaking guest, ex-president, Mr. Tim Plamondon. How are you doing?
The ex-president title feels very good.
How has it been? I mean, obviously, handover is kind of happening. This time of the year is probably a little bit slower than normal. Now that the AGM is finished, is it kind of sinking in? You're probably you'll always be around the board, in some capacity anyway.
Yeah, that's such a fully loaded question to right off the shoot. I thought about it. I thought about Edga every day for 4 years. Whether I was like supposed to be working at work or on the course or just at home or like my best place where I find my best ideas is in the shower. So I'd be like, in the shower thinking about it. And so like, I took the role very seriously. So to just be done with it, I did a little handover meeting with Brock, and I've been out of it now for whatever it's been like 10 days, and my mind is still like, I wonder what's going on. What do we have to do next? Do I have to update this? How do I communicate the new board members? Like my mind is still like, yeah, plugged into it, which I don't anticipate will go away. And it's funny, like I found, especially the last 3 years, the spring was really heavy, and then kind of once you get past July, from there, you're kind of just coasting.
Right.
But the spring, you spend so much time just setting up what your year is going to look like and doing all that. So, but it's great. I one of my bestest buddies in the world, Jason Miller. He's now the treasurer, and I've only asked him once what's going on, and he told me to buzz off. Oh, that's a great joke because his favorite disc is the Buzz. I just realized he told me to go away, and I said, okay, sounds good. Probably for my own good that I just like keep my head out of it for now. But of course, I'm going to be wherever. I'll be involved in some capacity, and I know I'll still take phone calls and emails and continue to help smooth the transition. And retirement's been great.
Well, that's one of the funny things is that I am on the other side of that. So I had a meeting with Brock and ex-communication member Vicky going over all the things that need to be handed over to me. And I know Brock had mentioned that, or Vicky had tried to log into something and her login didn't work because Brock's in that position now of like trying to get everybody switched over. So yeah, you won't have those emails anymore because they won't be going to, I don't know if you'll have access to that president email anymore.
I'm already logged out of everything. Brock and I did the full handoff. It was really seamless, which was really nice. Hour-long call, and I was out of it. And I have no more connectivity to anything on our Google Drive or the emails,
Yeah.
which is amazing because the first year that I took over, and again, this is no slight of the processes beforehand. This is just where it was beforehand. It was a lot
Hmm.
of like, this person's two-factor authentication is on another person's phone and no one knows
Right.
the password to this, and it was just kind of a little disjointed just by I don't know, it just was. Again, no negatives, it just was. So the
Yeah.
transition for that board for that first year I think took about 6 months. And so it's we worked really hard to make a back end like the Google Drive. I'm really proud of the work done with that Google Drive because there's like a template of how to run a freaking club right
Yeah.
there. And
Absolutely.
I kind of gave her a shout out at the AGM, but Vicky deserves a lot of the credit, and same with Brock and Travis Bouchard. Like there was a kind of a group of people that really championed that and built this infrastructure on the back end that no one will ever see, but it streamlines so many processes on the back end that it makes future councils so much more able to just plug and play.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One
You
one
know,
last shout out I wanted to give out in regard to the AGM there, Jeremy, because we had the meeting with Brock and Vicky had mentioned, this is what the template is for the newsletter. You've got this. You've got the social media. Whatever you want to do. If you want to get a bit more involved, there's this option or this option. Brock kind of said, well, you know what? At the AGM, we kind of made a little miscalculation. We had Greg Scratchley, who was running for the same position as me, ended up withdrawing his application because he wanted to go and do a different position, but it turns out that position wasn't available, so there was no position for him. So that in the future, if I ever need any help, if we're going to try and do some sort of collaboration on a media piece or anything like that, then I'll be reaching out to Greg. So just because he didn't get on the board, he'll be still involved somewhere.
Yeah, and that's actually a great point. Like, we just kind of made a counting error while we were doing it on the fly because there's positions coming and going and vacating and being voted on, and we just kind of lost count of people. Greg was super gracious about understanding that situation, but that's a really great point. Is that even if people can't necessarily be on the board, I know the board. I can't say we. I know the board would appreciate anyone that's willing to step up and help in any capacity. I know Kristen mentioned that she would like to help with anything regarding like Norwester T-pads and kind of help out with like the course maintenance. But to anyone out there that hears this, like there's ways to be involved that may not be directly on the board, but that can be a significant help, like Greg Scratchley can with whatever it's social media or communications or whatever, or Kristen in course maintenance. The club will always benefit from members just stepping up.
I think Kristen is a beautiful example of that, because I think she, by her own admission, she's never been on the Edgar board, but run so many things and is always involved in some aspect of the the running of the club.
Yeah, absolutely. She was very, very excellent to me with all the things I threw at her, or all the headaches I had, or all the temper tantrums I threw, or like bouncing ideas off of. Like, shout out to her for living with that for 4 years.
Well, it's all coming together for me too, Tim. We were talking a little bit earlier. You and I are both getting over a bit of a cold here. And after you explained it and said that you've been going for 4 years straight, just living, eating, breathing Edga, it's kind of like when you go into that super mode as a parent or something else and then you finally get a chance, your adrenaline's just going wild, and then it finally stops. Of course you were going to get a cold, man. It's been 4 years of going straight. So as long as it's only a few days and you get over it, then we're good.
I hope so. This one, I didn't really put those two and two together. Like everything kind of culminated, and then I just got horribly sick. But no, it's good. I'm sure I'll recover, and I hope you recover as well, Jeremy.
Yeah. Well, we did kind of mention at the end of the episode that we just recorded there, but we do want to shout out two of our brand new Patreon Chainlink subscribers, and Daryl and I, because Daryl is from the other side of the pond and I'm from this side of the pond. I'm saying it's Dina Dyes Discs, and you're saying it's Dinah Dyes Discs. Tim, where do you fall on that? What do you think it is?
Dinah, and it's H.
Yeah, there's a H in there as well, apparently.
I think the H makes it an I sound.
Oh, okay. So you're going with Daryl.
Yeah, I'm going to side with Daryl, just because I think the H gives the I a little push.
Yeah.
This is kind of whole like silent E is a ninja thing. If you know what that means.
In my mind, it's kind of that alliteration, kind of like, not alliteration, but the Dinah dies. It is alliteration.
Oh,
Dinah dies. Dinah dies. I don't know.
But
we thank you for your support anyway.
And put it in the comments. Tell us which way's right. I want to see how you write that out to tell us which is the right one.
And of course, Patient Zero. Brock is in the chat as well.
Thanks, Brock. And also, of course, let's shout out our other new listener or our new Patreon member is Dylan Froelich. Of course, that man, eh? Oh, we got another one? What do we got going on here?
Pasta? Cornflakes?
Cereal. Cornflakes.
Yeah.
I can use some cereal right now. Hi, Kristen. Thanks for joining.
If it's not Tim jumping in when Kristen was on the fantasy episode, it's Kristen chain out. Like you ask for one, you get both. We get lucky that way.
It's a two for
buy one, get one half. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, and we needed to have you on too.
Sorry,
Tim.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
I have to jump in. We have clarification.
Do we?
French Canadian parents, they always pronounced it Dina.
Wow.
Jeremy. All right.
That's
I
right.
will take my hat off. I'll concede. Jeremy was
Thank you,
right.
Gina. See, so every
we-
time we go to pronounce a name from this point forward, whether it's Fritia Fagergrin or something, you just know that I'm right, okay?
Okay.
And the other thing too, Tim, about having you on, I thought maybe you were going to call us if we didn't call you with this one, only because when we had Brock on for the last ATB episode, his numbers were getting pretty close. But I did the accurate count now. This
Okay.
is appearance number 6. We had episode 8. We did the interview with you. We had episode 16. We did the Tundra Toss recap. We had the bonus episode where you kind of gently
us.
requested to be on the show.
bullied my way on. You could just say bullied my way on.
Then we brought you on for Fantasy Picks 1, where you just blew it up, and that was the Foxwood Open. And then because of that one, we knew we had to have you on for the mega episode, which was Canadian Nationals in a Rip. And then you told us, you said early on in this, you guys, anytime. If you want me on, I'll come on every week if you want. And I'm guessing you've probably got the time for it now that you've got a little bit open calendar space.
I've had so much time. I'm going to backpack the world and find myself. I've cut all the time in the world. Yeah, no, I'm happy to be on. And honestly, I'm just trying to stay ahead of Brock. If I just stay ahead of Brock's counts, then I'm happy.
Well, now that he knows he can bully his way on as president, I'm sure we're in trouble.
We're gonna have to come up with more ways to get Tim on instead.
Yeah, that's true.
2 great guests. I mean, I don't mind if they want to keep competing to be, who has got the record. I don't mind.
That's right. Maybe we'll be the guest for the 2 of them or something like that.
Get your own podcast.
We've never done that, hey? Just throw them on as the hosts.
Yeah.
Watch what unfolds.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I got one thing that I kind of wanted to chat about with this. When you were younger, and this might, I don't know, again, I don't know if this is an English thing or not, Daryl, but this is definitely a North American thing. Did you collect hockey cards or baseball cards or anything, Tim, growing up? What did you collect, if you did anything?
Yeah, I was heavy into hockey cards, actually. Heavy into hockey cards. There were several Christmas gifts that I fondly remember where I got the box of cards, and I remember making trades. I still have my most prized card, which I gave away most of my hockey cards or sold them or whatever a long time ago. But my most prized card is a autographed Vincent Lecavalier card that I traded for a Mike Modano 3-star, which is, that's just a bunch of random words, but I
know those people.
Yeah. I was really, really into hockey cards back in the day. I was heavy into collecting. I haven't collected hockey cards for a long time. I still have a couple I have these bins of life memorabilia and life memories.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of my hockey cards left, but I used to be so into it. I loved it.
Right. What about you, Daryl? Did you have any, or was that a thing for you?
We had sticker albums. So for the Premier League, there would an album would come out with all the teams and all the players and all the badges, and there would be shiny badges for the team emblems and things like that. And then the World Cup would happen, and then there would be a nation, a national sticker album and things like that. So Panini was the company that did the stickers in England, but we never really did trading cards or anything like that.
We at my work, we still carry those sticker booklets, not only for hockey but actually for World Cup years. My hockey store carries those sticker booklets.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't get me started
I
on
do
them
remember.
again. I spent so much money. You get down to the last, you're missing 4 or 5 stickers from the book. You could send off, and you would get those stickers back to complete the album.
So good.
No, and I remember those sticker books too, but I was kind of a little bit different with some of the cards. I think when I bought sports cards, I have a whole case of 1991 or 93 Upper Deck baseball cards, and I'd open them all and I put them in one of those cardboard boxes, and I've still kept them to this day. But I think that was just a poor year for rookies. I don't think there was anybody in there, so no matter what happened, it wasn't that. But what I really collected was all the cartoon type ones. I had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I did the Marvel ones where I did Marvel Series 1, Marvel Series 2. And as it got through each of the series, my collection got a little weaker and weaker, where it was the first one I had all of them but 2 hologram cards. And then I had, half of the main deck, and then I had like a quarter of it. So I loved it, and I've put them in my bin in the basement of my collectibles, and I still have them to this day. So, but I do remember, did you guys ever flick them as well? Like I used to flick them at school to try and win cards. Did you guys ever do that?
No, can't say I did.
It must have been an Ontario thing where you'd take cards and you'd flick them at the wall. And if your card was closer than somebody else's to the wall, you'd take both cards. But now you got two garbage cards because you've just flicked them against a wall outside in the winter or whatever it was. But
I never heard of that.
yeah. So now you guys probably get it. I'm setting you up here because
we're thinking there's a point to this.
Out with. Yeah, no. That's what Around the Basket's all about. It's just a chance to chat, right? So, yeah. But I think as everybody's probably seen now, whether it's Brody or Yuli, whoever it is, those Brixton disc golf cards have come out. And are you guys are you jacked for that? Does that kind of spur you back onto it, or where are you guys feeling on it?
Well, before we get into the Brixton cards, I just want to say I'd like to see the chain out rookie season cards because there would only be, you could do all the guests, right?
Yeah.
And imagine.
Oh yeah.
Right. Imagine pulling a Brock Cicchetti and just throw it away, and then pull the Tim Plamondon, and then you're anyway.
And there might be the misprint, the Brock Shochetti card or something like that.
That's right. You could do a whole. It'd be great. You could do a whole rookie season, and then every year. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, that's your idea. Take it now. Yeah, I really like it. I haven't bought any. I would really like to, but I think it adds a whole new kind of dynamic, and I'm all about like anything that helps validate the sport a little bit, because anything that brings the sport more into like less of like a niche game and more into like a real sport, then I'm happy. Yeah. And I think like adding like playing cards and tradable cards, and people do like Brody and Yuli doing like they're pulling cards, and there's some that are autographed, they're like 3 of 4, and like I mean that's just so cool, and it just adds another level of excitement. I think they're so cool.
Yeah, I like the fact that you can get signed cards or parts of people's jersey and things like that. Like it's just more than just a card. Like there's a chance that you could actually get some sort of, like you say, a bit more of memorabilia.
Yeah.
And I was feeling that same way about them all. And guys, I've got something for us tonight.
Oh,
I have in my hands.
No way.
Damn, he's doing a Brixton opening.
We are going to do our own Brixton opening tonight, and that's going to be our surprise giveaway to the crowd tonight. So what I need you guys to help me do is I actually got these from Disc Republic. So these, rather than buying a case, because I think a case comes with packs of 5 cards in them, and you get 40 cards in total, 8 packs of 5. Okay. These are the XL packs, so there's 10 cards in one. And I got 6 of them on purpose because I wanted to give away one. So I need to know which one we're giving away. So you guys got to decide.
Oh, hang on. Let me put it back on you again. I mean,
pick a number.
Well, Tim's the guest. I'll let you pick, Tim.
I like the far one.
Not, this one or the other
that
far?
one?
No, far on the other side.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah.
So that's the giveaway pack?
Okay. This is it. I don't do these types of things.
Are you opening it?
We're doing it all. We're opening
I thought you were giving a pack away.
We're giving it away, but we want to know what we're giving away. What if I find out we're giving away a piece of a disc or something like that?
Well, that's okay. We'll open it then. Go for it.
All right. Is this okay with you, Daryl? I didn't talk to you about this. Is this all
No,
right?
You can go for it. Yeah, I just thought you said you were giving.
How do you open them up?
It was going to be a giveaway, but I thought you were giving away the blind packs.
You pull the backs out.
Oh, hang on.
Tim, can you help?
Do it again. Do it again. Watch Tim.
You outfold the middle, and then you pull it outward.
All right,
there's like that little middle.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now pull that down.
Pull it away,
and pull the top. Pull the top outward.
Oh yeah, okay, I gotcha. We're here. Is this how you open cards?
That's how you preserve it. Like if you want to get those graded, you have to preserve it.
Oh, okay.
But here's the thing now, careful. You don't want to reveal anything else, right? You want to just one at a time.
There you go. Tilt it forward. Okay. Sarah Hokum.
Sarah Hokum. So we're only revealing one at a time, right?
Yeah. Can I pause on the Sarah Hokum 1 second and just say, what do you guys, just a real quick sidebar, what do you guys think of AirPods during play?
See, this is what we want. This is what we want more of on the Around the Basket. Topics like that.
So let's go on it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I think if you're playing, I know it's an individual sport, but I think if you're separating yourself from everybody else. Part of what we like is, there's going to be times where you're standing on the tee pad when you're walking up the fairway, things like that. If you've got your AirPods in, even if they're not playing music, even if you've only got one in, like, you cannot tell if that person's engaged with you, if they're in their own mindset. As much as it shouldn't affect my game, I'm just not a fan of it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same mindset where it's just kind of like I feel like, I love it when I've got a card of folks that are just like engaged, having fun. We're all we're in it together. And I do feel like the AirPods, kind of take someone away from it. Like, it kind of puts them in their own zone. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't think in this moment I feel great about it.
Yeah.
No, like if you're out on a practice round all by yourself, it's all to it. Do whatever the heck you want. Who cares on that case? But I'm thinking, like, do we have any other professional sports that you can think of where you're competing at a professional level and you're listening to your headset? Like, are people playing chess? I don't, like, are they playing chess that way? Nobody's playing basketball that way. They might do it when they warm up at the beginning, but you're not doing it in the middle of your round or your sport.
Yeah. I'm guessing the PDGA makes a ruling on that within the next year or two, just based on, people having to make calls and talk and communicate with the cards. Like, I'm guessing anyway. But just an interesting one. There's a few, like, I know Jen Allen typically plays with an AirPod. I've seen Paige Pierce play with an AirPod. Obviously, that Sarah Hokum card, she's got the AirPod. So it's definitely a thing that exists out there, not just at a casual level, but at a pretty high level.
Yeah. I wonder what they get out of it, whether it's the fact that they can just block out the crowd, because I don't think they're getting anything from anyone else, right? They're not getting heckled by their card mates. So is it just a focus thing that they can just block out everything and they can only hear the music? And because, again, what music do you pick? If you have a playlist and the wrong song comes on when you're about to putt, do you wait? Do you skip it? Like, how does that work?
Well, let's go with that, Daryl. Okay, you're standing, it's hole one. You want to start your round off right, and you are going to be rude, and you're going to stick your AirPods in your ears when you're going to play on this lead card that you've started, this feature card. But you want to really smash this one. What song is in the AirPods when you throw that first drive?
Hey, this isn't in the script. Do you have a song lined up, Tim? Because I'm going to have a time to think here. Jeremy, what would yours be? Do you have anything lined up? I know when we were at Hidden Gem, or was it Wally's 100, you had mentioned that you were going to announce the players on the tee, and that Brock wanted some music, and he already had his, he said, if you're going to play music, I want to hear this, and he had it right there. Like, he didn't even have to, there was no second thinking.
Yeah. I do like, as a pump up song, Knights of Sidonia by Muse. That intro is unbelievable. Like, that intro just builds so perfectly to like a big moment. So that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I know for me, when it was when I was with the Limber Pinecones there, as we're wrapping up the year for that, they had wanted to have what our walk-on song would be when we would announce. And for me, I'm a huge Beastie Boys fan, and I just love how much it jazzes me up when I listen to it. I like a lot of, or some fast punk like Offspring and things like that. But with Beastie Boys, I had picked Sure Shot just because I wanted the kind of double play there. So I thought that was a good one for me. That's all I'm thinking now. If I was to say what one do I have to have, I don't know, but that was the one I picked for that reason.
I think by law, Daryl has to pick like the Beatles or something like that, right? Like, it's got to be like, I want to hold your hand or something like that.
Okay, now you put me on the spot. Yeah, it'd have to be a Beatles one, or I don't know.
You don't got one, dude?
Isn't it funny when you're trying to think of something, your mind just goes blank? All I'm thinking of now is Lady Madonna. That's the first song that's coming to my head.
All right. Well, if Sarah Hokum is our Lady Madonna, let's see who our next person is.
Well, just before you take the second one, Brock says you've already ruined it because you're not wearing gloves, so it doesn't matter. Go to the next one.
I'm not enough of a nerd. Hey, I'm not enough of a nerd. Yeah. All right. Who do we got there?
Cynthia Ricotta.
What do you guys know about Cynthia? Anything?
Haven't seen a lot of her. I know of her.
There's a lot of redhead ladies with long hair on the tour. I know that, but
I've seen her play because Kristen and I watch a heck of a lot of FPO, but I can't recall any specifics about her game right now. What is she with, like Lone Star, or she's like with Neptune or something like that? She's with someone. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, it's one of those. Does it say on the card?
Let's see on the front of the
Is there
card.
any
What do I
information?
see? No, it doesn't really. Like this one just has like a green background on it. Like
There's no
that's
logo
all
or
I can
anything like
see.
that. No sponsor logo. No.
No, got to work on that light there.
Oh, she's
But
with Discmania this year. Okay, cool.
Oh,
okay. I
okay.
just think, yeah, I was thinking because like Cadence Burge, a lot of them, if you don't know who they are, you could confuse them pretty quickly with that long flowing red hair.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you got next?
We're keeping going. All right.
Are
There
we
we go.
doing the
So we
whole
can,
6 packs, or are you just doing one
You
pack?
got to do the whole
no, we're just doing one pack.
Oh,
We're doing one
at
pack.
least you got to do the whole pack.
All right. Who do we got
Tristan
next?
Tanner.
Tanner.
Okay.
His
If you want to stop
and
and talk, you just tell me. Otherwise, I'm going to go with the next one.
his
Keep going.
instructional videos are excellent.
I was just going to say the same thing. Getting well known recently for doing those short instructional videos.
Yeah.
Great tips. Very informative. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess
Okay.
I'll have to watch them after I'm done learning from Gabe when I've learned everything
Good.
I can from him.
Exactly.
Good
Okay, next.
logo. I'm a big fan of people with like good logos, and I think Tristan's got a really good one. The double T.
Yeah.
Cole Redolin.
Mm.
And I think, are they done calling him young Cole Redolin yet? I thought I kept hearing everybody saying, oh, young Cole Redolin. I think it's because he was on NAGGT or something. Isn't that how he came up? Isn't Kevin told us
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Kevin told us that last year or last week or
Last
whenever
year.
it was. Whenever it was when he told us. Yeah. Kind of gone off the boil a bit this year. I know that the last thing I
Injury.
remember about Cole was a negative where I forget which tournament it was. He got to hole 15 or 16, threw his upshot, and then just said, I'm out of here, took his bag and just walked off the course because he knew he wasn't going to finish make the cut line, things like that. Haven't heard a lot from him for the rest of the year, though.
What do you think about that? Like
Yeah.
Brody's talked about that, right? About that whole like, and you know more about it than we do, Tim. Is like the whole 999-888 thing and stuff. Does that work at the pro level as well?
Oh man. I mean it must. I mean I think that's a blanket. The 999-888 is like a blanket statement for any event. I think that would account for a pro as well. I mean, I wonder if even that would give him like a warning. Like I know there's been a couple warnings and a couple suspensions that were handed out recently. I wonder if like as a card carrying professional, if the PDGA would be like, you can't do that. Like
Yeah.
that would be a rule breaker.
And that was the thing, right? He posted it on his social media. He had a video of him saying, "That's it. Later, I'm out of here." So, yeah, I think
guess-
I think that was more the worst part than actually just doing it. If he had just walked off, faked an injury, feigned whatever it would have been less and not talked about. But the fact that he
Yeah.
posted it on social media it made it even worse. It was almost as if he was mocking, you know.
I wonder if in that case he probably got par plus 4 as opposed to being disqualified. I'm not really certain how that works at that level, but I mean, I know he had some injury troubles. Cole's always felt like a guy who's like, he's got every skill in the world. If he puts it together, he is going to be elite. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I hope he figures it out because I'd love to have even tighter competition at the top, but that was definitely a negative. I'd be curious to know how the PDGA handled it on a scoring front.
Right.
Well, and it kind of goes to the point too. There was when I was listening to Tour Life just recently, when Brody was taking some calls, and you know everyone always wants to ask him about ratings. But if you looked at our PDGA ratings compared to the way they would do it in golf, and if you had a horrible round like that, just not even having it being included in your rating, then maybe it's not such a big deal. Like to force someone to play something that they're obviously out of it and they don't want to be part of anymore. Like, should you be forced to finish a round? What do you guys think on that?
That's a tough question. I know that for ratings, anything plus or minus 100 rating points won't get counted towards your rating. Like if it's that far off of your rating, it won't count. So I guess from that standpoint, I wonder where he fell for that day.
Yeah.
But also like, yeah, it's tough because there's a bit of a double standard. Like, do we want to force anyone to finish a round? Like that's a tough sell to say you have to finish the round. But also there's like a responsibility to being a professional that you are representing the sport and you are a role model for so many people. Like you have to suck it up to some degree and play it out. Like I just can't see a scenario. I just think about myself. Like, what would I
Yeah.
do in that situation? And I just think about, like, would I ever get so mad that I'd walk out of a tournament round? Like, no. Like,
No, exactly.
I'd
There's
go
only one
home and be
person in
mad.
this group that I can think of who might have got close recently. Hey, Daryl.
Okay, we don't need to bring that up again. No, I would say, from my point of view, I 100% think that it's not acceptable to walk off. I don't think you're, like you said, you're not setting a good example. I think just because something's not going your way, or whatever it might have been, and I didn't really take into consider the ratings and things like that, because obviously I don't really care about the ratings. Like, I play my best every tournament. If it goes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it goes down. But when you get to that level, the ratings really matter when you're at that level. And would it have affected him that much? And does that outweigh the negative outlook that people have on him? Well, I mean, not that everybody does, but it was definitely a negative anyway. So if it was me, I would say, as a professional, if you're in a tournament, you finish it.
Yeah.
The other thing maybe that goes with it when you talk about the tournaments, and the fact that they're playing sometimes week after week after week, they're not getting those breaks in between. It would almost be as that if they were spaced out and they actually had a break, then you would not give them as much slack. But if you were saying, I'm throwing X amount of throws this year, almost like the way a pitcher does too in a baseball game, is they're only good for so many throws in a game. How many throws are you really good for in a week? So if you're not feeling it and you're going to play right again next week and you're going to start practicing again, maybe it makes sense. But if you give them some space and give them like the 2 weeks between tournaments, then I'd say, yeah, you got to finish your tournament. You got to, unless you're really injured, then you're finishing.
And I see here that they actually did give him an 888 on that, which is the more negative of the two scores.
Right.
Gotcha.
And I guess if it comes down to it, it goes back and forth, right? Because you can say as a tournament director or a PDGA, you can say you have to finish a round if you're healthy enough to finish. If you're healthy enough, you've got no excuse to leave a round. Well, then players are just going to say, no, my elbow hurts. I can't throw anymore. It's too sore. Like, you can't tell a guy, no, you're not injured. So then now are we starting to encourage them to lie just so that they can leave the round because they want to leave the round because they're not feeling it?
Totally. Yeah.
If you're not feeling it, don't lie. Be open and honest and say, I'm just not feeling it, and then leave, rather than forcing someone to lie about it.
But in that case, I think they'd probably think about like issuing a warning, or maybe some sort of like, probably like a warning. That's like, if this happens again, like you'll possibly get a suspension or something of that nature. So
yeah.
Oh, I got my hot take for it then. What would happen in the case if you drop out of a round like that, no matter what the reason is, injury or not, you get penalized going into the next tournament. So, maybe you get hit with a stroke or two already before you even start. So those strokes don't hurt you that game. They're hitting you the next tournament. Is that too rude or too mean to somebody?
I value your opinion, but you're wrong.
Hey, this is off the cuff, man. I'm flying from the top here. They're not all going to be good ones.
Yeah.
I probably would not be in favor of that, just because like I do think there's like a purity to each individual round. Like, if you choose to walk away from a round, you should be punished for your event. But if you do play a good or a bad round and you complete it, like that's what you did. And nothing, no prior, no nothing after. Just as it is.
And then also what happens if he knows that he's going to get a 2 or 3 stroke penalty going into his next tournament? Does he go and sign up for an A tier somewhere to void that penalty, just because he knows the next tournament after that is the one that he actually wants to do well in? Like, he'll be able to manipulate tournaments and pick and choose and things like that.
Could you imagine though? Could you imagine? I need a Wednesday flex C tier before my main tournament because I need to
erase this penalty.
These strokes.
Yeah.
Well, there is sometimes like hockey. Don't you can have carryovers or no? You can have a multiple game suspension or something, but that's more serious infraction, right? And that's not usually happening. It does happen in the playoffs, but not as often. So
suspension's about the only carryover that they'll ever do. I have seen times where they've ended a period like 45 seconds early for whatever reason, and then they add those 45 seconds to the third period. But like that's so rare, like so incredibly rare.
I've seen it in soccer where if you get a red card in the league, it doesn't affect the other way around. If you get a red card in a cup, it doesn't affect your league play. So you'll miss the next round of the league or the cup, not the league. So, yeah, there's things like that, but I don't think we're at that point at this time. Okay, open another card, Jeremy.
Man, this will just be the show tonight, Daryl. We'll just keep talking about the cards. I like it. All right, who do we got next? After Cole?
Rebecca Cox.
Rebecca Cox.
Another AirPod user.
Yeah.
So is she?
She is, yeah. MVP.
And she was also making, she kind of had a big comeback this year too, didn't
No,
she?
she's Latitude 64, isn't she?
Well, we can figure that stuff out on the fly, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think she's
If only there was the world's resources at our fingertips.
Yeah. If only there was like a world wide web or something like that. And that's for anybody listening here who's not old enough to know that there used to be a www dot.
Don't get me started on www. There's meant to be an abbreviation, but it takes 3 times as long to say www than it does to say World Wide Web.
Yeah,
she is a Latitude athlete.
She's a Latitude. Okay.
All right, so that's our 5th card. We're halfway through the pack, all right?
Okay.
Let's go for the next one. You ready? How am I doing? There, I'm doing okay.
Tilt them forward.
No, I'm not doing good. I'm going to pull out too many cards.
Vinyl
Macula.
Yeah, recent. So what is he wearing in this photo? Has he got his Prodigy on? Can you tell on the jersey, Jeremy?
Let's see. Can you tell?
Just turn it around.
I don't
Jeremy,
want to.
You're in person.
Because obviously
it has a Nike symbol on it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think a lot of those pro players, like they just go out and buy a polo that they like and then press all their brands right on it. They don't. It's not like they have.
Is that what they do?
Nike. Yeah, majority of them do. Yeah.
Oh.
Now, Vino, you would have thought that maybe he would have been at the WIFDIF championships, right, representing, but he was not there. And I guess that's a thing too, right? Is like WIFDIF was awesome because we sent the Canadian team. We sent, most of the best of our best, but not everyone else is doing that yet. And I don't know if they're going to start to do that or not, but I'm sure Vino should be there, right?
Probably, yeah. Vino definitely in the top percentile. Yes, yeah, I think you're right. Yes.
I'm thinking he should be there representing his company. Like I don't know what other people had going on that they didn't want to go to Australia, but
well, that's the thing, right? You got to look at them in their rankings in their country. Mm-hmm. So we sent the top 10.
Vino is not top in his country?
No, but, well, okay, maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way then, because I was thinking more of the American. Because we had this discussion with Kerry and Clive about how come Team USA didn't send a lot of, why their top athletes weren't going. But when you look at Paul Macbeth and AB and Gannon, they are making too much money. They don't need to go and play halfway around the world in a tournament in this WIFDIF thing. So
I don't need to represent my country on the world stage. Is that in my sport?
How much are they paying? How much are they getting paid for it? That's what I think.
How much do Olympic athletes get paid? Not much, but
well, I think too. Probably they look at it at the timing of the year. Like their season is so long that probably by the time that comes up, there's just not enough good reasons to go.
Yeah,
I almost think it's even worse than that, in the fact that I'm thinking some people might not even know what WIFDIF is, right? Like it's because it is separate. It's more of an ultimate based organization, or it's more well known for that, I think. So maybe this year is what brought it to it, by having 22 countries represented, and now we're talking about it. Other podcasts are talking about it. Maybe that's enough attention that players will actually be interested the next time it comes around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too.
Next card.
Next card. Oh, is that why you're shining?
It's going to be the end
I
of
thought
our
you just
episode.
wanted to focus on you. That's all. Okay, next card.
Ooh, Chris Dickerson.
Yeah.
Something's different too about this one. Okay, so all the other ones have like this green background on them. Well,
yeah.
This one's got a blue background on it.
Sometimes they'll say like, I don't know the Brixton cards specifically, but like in hockey cards, they'll be like, Elite Series or like, mega, there'll be some sort of identifier.
Well, I know they have the Tokyo cards, which are different again, but I don't know if there's any difference between blue and green. It doesn't say anything on the back.
Well, I can't look at the back without showing the next card. Or am I allowed to do that? Because I want the
go to the next card.
To me. All right.
Okay, when you pick this card, now you got another blue one. Now look at the back of Chris Dickerson.
Oh, Clemonade.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the back of it, okay, you got Clemonade. You guys saw that. This says, I don't know. It says
Put your readers on.
maybe. Oh man, I totally feel like I'm old now. It's dark in here.
Okay, it doesn't matter. We got Clemonade.
No, it doesn't
Moving
matter.
on.
All right,
Moving on.
moving
We got
on.
Clemonade.
moving on. This isn't getting long in the tooth for you, is it, Daryl? I'm enjoying this.
Oh,
What is
Ricky
what is that?
Wysocki silo.
Is that cool? Do we know?
I mean, it looks cool.
Hold on. If only we had the World Wide Web to figure these things out.
No, it's www.
Right. That looks like it could be cool.
So what does the Brixton, the World Wide Web say? This one is, it's like a shadow and...
Yeah. A silhouette. I think it's not silo, it's
silhouette.
Silhouette, because it's...
Of course, another mispronunciation.
I do see that it's available on eBay for $5.
Wow.
Ooh, all right. So
we might have just
somebody's
made
getting
some money
a $5 card. And then the last card we've got, well, if I hadn't touched it with my bare hands, that is.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry about that, Brock.
This is the last one?
Last
Eagle
card,
McMahon.
Nice
Mr. McMahon.
Yeah.
And what is it? I don't know if it says something
It's
on
black.
this side of this one.
Got a black
Oh, it has
background.
PDGA number, but they all have their PDGA number written vertically beside it.
Yeah.
And then otherwise, I think it's just a base card. So I'm guessing that the card of the pack is this one here. Is that
it's the Ricky?
Silo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything like texturally different with it?
It feels thicker. It feels like a thicker card. And I don't know, some of them, when I heard the guys opening them before, they'll say like there's X amount of them. Like there's only...
Yeah.
Well,
You're not
is there
seeing any
anything on
numbers?
the backside?
The backside, it shows like 10. I don't know if we can get that. So
Yeah,
there you
we
go.
can see that. But it doesn't say...
And it also has a design on the back, right? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's almost got it on both sides, where when you look on the other ones, you get their statistics, and they're provided by Statmando.
So that number, the 45 and the 10, what does it say? I know it's small writing. You might have to get your magnifying
Just
glass
says
out.
20. It just says 2023 base Brixton 45 on the Eagle McMahon.
Okay.
And so I think that's how many cards of that pack. And then this says 10 for the Silo. So I just don't know, depending on how many there are. If anybody else knows better, maybe we'll know. But so that's how we're going to give this away, Daryl. I'm putting that on you or Tim.
I thought you were opening 5 packs and you were giving 1 pack away. That's what I thought you were doing.
No, I'm opening 1 pack that we picked. If we're going to open all the packs tonight, we're going to be here forever.
The way you open them, yeah. No, I didn't realize we were doing that. I just thought you were going to open 1 or 2 packs and then have 1 sealed pack to give away. So if that's not what you're doing, then you decide what you're going to do and how you're going to give them away.
He's going to open 1 pack and keep the rest for himself. I mean, it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
That was what would you have done, Tim? Isn't that what you would have done if you bought yourself 6 packs?
I never would have brought them onto a podcast to open.
You'd be at home with the gloves on and
yeah.
have the sleeves to put them in.
The big magnifying glass, the gloves, and I'd be like with like a little thing.
Okay, yeah. I'll put a post on our Patreon because not everybody's in the chat, so we don't want to exclude anybody. We've only got 4 Patreon subscribers, so how about I put a post in the chat? What do you want to? How are you going to give them away? Are you going to send it to them? Just put it in an envelope and send it to them. So if anybody wants a card, put it in
they're going to get the whole pack.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that one of the 4 Patreon people, unless somebody else magically adds on to the chain link team tonight or something, right?
Okay.
We'll put them on a wheel. It's going to be the best wheel because it's just going to be 4 pieces of a cookie. And we'll spin that wheel, and whoever gets picked is getting this pack of cards with my fingerprints on the edges. So there you go.
Good enough.
Probably worth more now.
And then also too, Daryl, I really like Tim's idea. I think we need to get some cards made.
It's not a bad idea.
The chain out guest cards.
All of season 1, every guest, if we could do that.
Oh yeah.
Sure, everybody be up for having their likeness put on a card and distributed, right?
I wonder how hard it is to get cards made, like personalized cards.
When we spoke to I forget which tournament it was. We did.
It was.
I think it was
PEI.
Eastern Am Provincials or Eastern whatever. But they had those cards made up for everybody that signed up for the tournament. They could get a card with. They submitted a photo when they signed up for the tournament, and they ended up getting a card with their picture on it for the tournament.
I think it might have been the Discape Open or Discmania Open. Which was it?
Discmania Open.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brock even said in the chat, didn't one of the TDs that you interviewed did that? Yeah.
Yep.
We'd have to go back and have a look, but
what I love about
I'm
it is
sure
because of
there'd
the
be-
quality of the podcast, Daryl, and how the podcast has kind of changed over time.
Yeah.
Is if we had to take it as a still from the episode, that's where we took the picture from. And of course, we'd find the most flattering still. We could have, that would be the bonus card, like the one of one. And there's one out there with like whatever that face that if you just pause it at the right moment, you would get that.
Okay, what are we moving on to?
That's your call, my friend.
Okay, Tim, we can talk about the playoff format in the DGPT playoffs. We can have a discussion about that. We can also talk about the AB provincials. We had them. Do we want to bring them back? Will they work? Or we can talk about growing disc golf and how to get people playing, which is a bit more local.
Yeah, I've spent the last while talking about local, so not that I'm done with it, but I would love to sink my teeth into some disc golf pro tour championships.
Yeah,
I like that. So the current DGPT playoff format, for people that don't know, Jeremy has it written down here, so I'm just going to.
This may not be right at all, Daryl.
I'm just going to. That's why I was.
Information.
That's why I was prefacing
reliable.
it. You wrote it down. So the top 32 MPO and the top 20 FPO get. What are you going to call it?
That's what we're narrowing down to, is what I think it was, right? As we were going through those rounds, I think they were getting to the top 32 in the top 20. That's kind of what I was researching. I was trying to find out because it's almost hard to tell. Like there's a number of tournaments. Like you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You got it?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, of course they do. But the part that I don't like, and I guess this is the part where we can get into, is the format of whoever's leading the points gets -10 in the first round, -9, -8 throughout. Like, I come from England. Soccer, we have divisions. So you have Premier League, Championship, Division 1, Division 2. The top 2 from Division 2 at the end of the year with the most points, they get automatically promoted to the Division 1. The bottom 2 in Division 1 get relegated. Yeah. That way, you're playing for something, you're always going up, and you've got that fear of coming last or going down. This whole, when you get to the playoffs, then you get invited into the playoffs, and then people that get invited in aren't even in the top, whatever the count is. Like, obviously we talked about Brody and Yuli. Brody got an invite. He shouldn't have been there. He turned it down. Like, where do you stand on that whole coming to the end of the season, the playoff format? Do you like it?
I don't, but I don't know what could be better. I've thought a lot about this.
Wait, I do.
Oh, do you?
But you go.
I don't know how it could be better, and I don't like it. When I think about the tournaments throughout the year, like if you were to ask me, like, what are the best tournaments of the year? I'm always like, well, I mean, USDGC and Throw Pink comes to mind. Maple Hill, like MVP Open comes to mind. World Championships come to mind. DDO, like I think about all these great, and in my mind, like if you were to ask me to rank all the pro tournaments in the year, like the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships would be really, really low. Like this, I care so little about it, as cool as it is. And I think like they obviously need a way to incentivize players to have like an end goal. Like you have to accumulate points, and those points need to matter towards something. So I don't have an answer, but I don't love it. I did think the match play format previously was actually really interesting. I did like the match play format as opposed to stroke play. I thought that was like an intriguing way to do it. I don't know the answer. I'm hoping Jeremy knows, because I've been thinking about this one for a while.
Well, and maybe just because I'm so new to disc golf, I'm not familiar with the match play and what they had done with that before. But what I was going to pose to you guys before that is what are the most, not in disc golf, but what are the most entertaining types of playoffs or competition events that you've seen? And I think, to me, and maybe I won't say that. First, you guys tell me, what is the best out of all the different sports that you have? What is the most enjoyable playoffs for you guys to watch?
I mean, I'm a hockey guy. I love the attrition of hockey, like the 4 rounds, 16 teams, and like you can have your Cinderella stories, your dominance. Like there's just like the it just takes so long. It's such a slog for someone to come out on top. So I do think like that's the best of 7 is really cool. Like I love that. I don't know. What do you think, Daryl?
I don't know. So again, because I'm from England, I'm used to you play all season, you get to the end, whoever has the most points wins. Done. I don't see why there has to be a playoff after that, and then to carry it on.
You guys don't have playoffs? Then that's how little I know about football. It's just if you win, you win. There's no playoffs?
No, for the most part. So on some divisions, it'll be the top 2 are automatically promoted, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6 will play like a round robin, or like 6th will play 3rd, 5th will play 4th, and then those 2 will go on, and then whoever wins out of that is the 3rd promotion spot. So if you win, if you're 1st and 2nd, you're automatically guaranteed. You don't need to do anything. You've proved that you're good enough to go up because you've won the division and you came 2nd. Then it's the 4 remaining spots that battle it out for that 3rd place, which I don't really like because you can finish 6th and you can still get promoted, even though you finished 3rd you might have missed out by 1 point, and then you miss out on the playoffs, so you miss out on going up for that promotion. But for me, if you do well for the whole season and you get the most amount of points and you've played the best, congratulations, you're the champion. Let's go home, and then we'll come back again next year and everyone can try better next time. I don't see why there has to be a playoff.
Well, maybe I'm more like the North American style like Tim is, but if you think about it as well with Tim, think about the Sweet 16 and March Madness.
Yeah.
And how insane and how much fun that is, and the fact that anything can happen. So I'm with you on that. And I'm thinking, and maybe you can tell me if this is the way the match play was, but this year they had a number of different tournaments that were all part of the playoffs, right? You had the Green Mountain Championships, you had the MVP Open, and then you get to the Disc Golf Championships, right? The Pro Tour. So what if you kind of took it and pick your number that makes sense, if it's 128 or 72, whatever it is, that's what you start at that first tournament. It's a 4-round tournament. And the first 2 rounds of that tournament, you can still play, say, for the money of that tournament or whatever they've raised for it. Everybody gets to be part of that based on their total finishing position. But you have the number 1 seed play the 72nd seed over 2 rounds. And you can make it match play, you can make it whatever it is, and you knock that person out. And if you're first all season and you get knocked out by the 72nd person, would that not be entertaining? And then you've got 2 more rounds that weekend on a 4-day tournament. And then you get to play against wherever you would match up in that bracket. So you could have a bracket and you're no longer following just the lead card. You're following the rest of the cards as well. And then my thought, and I'll keep it as short as I can, is now you go into the MVP Open and you've knocked out players, but other players can still enter. They're just not part of playoffs anymore. They're playing for cash for the best score possible, whatever it is. But what you're really paying attention to on the playoff side is who is going to be that top seed at the end of the season, who's able to withstand. And that's why you're playing to be at the top, so that you can play 72nd that first round.
I just want to let you know, Jeremy, I've got my finger hovering over the button.
So if Tim wants you to hit it, you can hit it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the match play was sort of like that, right? The match play it did bracket people, and then you could kick people out, but it was only over the course of a weekend. Like I think it was 4 rounds or 5 rounds or whatever it was, and then there'd eventually be a single winner based on 1v1 match play, which was really cool. And like it did allow, like the one year Nathan Queen won was like pretty, like quite an upset. He just had a great weekend and he managed to knock off all his opponents, and it made for a really great storyline. And I thought that was a cool way to do it.
So I was close to what it actually was without even knowing I was close to what it actually was.
Yeah, it was pretty similar. It was basically just one year-end tournament where your final points seeded you to who you'd play.
Okay.
But I don't know. I always think about this. I always think about what are my favorite events of the year? Like, why can't we just end why can't we just end with USDGC? Not just for the men's too, but like USWDGC, and kind of like Daryl's soccer point, like if you have the most points at the end of the year, you win. Like it doesn't need to be overthought. Like I don't know if there needs to be a playoffs. Like have your best tournament at the end of the year to really like kind of peak, and though your winner's your winner. Like
why do you feel like then? Why do you say that's a bad idea, Jeremy? Why do you think there needs to be a playoff?
Because I think that the points winner, that could be, if you guys want that, just use the points winner. Who had the most points throughout the year? They've got that. But I want to be entertained. I want to be gladiator. Am I not entertained, right? I want to see a battle, and I want to see the upsets. I want the passion of it. I want the excitement of it. I don't want to just go, oh, Gannon Burr, halfway through the season, has the most points. Looks like he's going to win this year. Congratulations, Gannon. I'd rather see, oh, Gannon's going up against Cole Radallen. He just bowed out of the last tournament. He's the villain, but look at him go. He's actually beating Gannon for whatever reason. I'd love to see that. So
I value your opinion.
This is my passion coming out.
No, I had to hit the button. So I know what you're saying. It could look like that.
Do you not see any value in that? Come on.
If you say, okay, it's halfway through the season and Gannon's winning, oh great, he's the champion, oh great. But you're just looking at that as in the season as a whole. Okay, Gannon might be winning. Let's just say Gannon went on a streak, won everything, and he locked it up by halfway through the season. Well, there's still half the season to go, and you're still going to get different winners, or may get different winners at different tournaments. So season long, okay, Gannon might win, but who's going to win DDO? Who's going to win Green Mountain Classic? Who's going to win all the different tournaments, right? So I don't necessarily see it as a season-long competition as much as I do who's going to win this tournament, who's going to win that tournament.
Yeah, I'm jumping in one more time, Tim, just to throw this in before I give you some time on this, is that anybody who's an Oilers fan, Daryl, we have watched the Oilers be out midway through the season and have no opportunity at the playoffs. Guess how much hockey I watch after that? Zero. I do not care what happens. I want to see somebody get to the playoffs and then compete for that chance. Do you remember the Carolina run, Tim? Do you remember the Carolina run when we went to Game 7?
I don't have a fair weather hockey fan button, Jim, I'm afraid. If you're a fan or you're not.
Okay, yeah. So
there's so much to unpack there, hey?
You just outed yourself as a halfway fan. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. I'm not stressed. It's fine.
Now we know we don't need to take his opinion seriously now.
Yeah. We could strike everything he just said from the record, which is fine. I get what you're saying. I'll pause kind of my own thoughts because there was kind of a little battle happening between Ricky Wysocki and Paul McBeth a couple years ago, where Paul McBeth put all his energy and time into winning the World Championships, whereas Ricky put a lot of his energy into winning the Pro Tour Championships. And there was this battle of like, who's the better player? Who's the better player? And Ricky went on to say, is the better player the person who can win one tournament, or is the better player the person who can win the Pro Tour?
Right.
So I think that's kind of like where the basis of having a championship does lie, is by like being able to crown someone the winner, not just through just total points, but being able to say like, not only did you have the most points, but you came out on top at this end event. But I still think like, kind of like Daryl was saying, like, I look at it, I don't look at the season as like a season as who's winning the season. Like I look at it like, who's going to win DDO? Who's going to win this chess.com? Like, I think it's all about the individual tournaments. And that's really what makes the storylines compelling, is like the roller coaster of the year. Who's going to come out on top on these different courses? Like, and I know they have a vested interest in making sure that players go to more events than not. Like a lot of players, I'm sure if they weren't chasing points, they'd only go to maybe 10 events instead of 15 or whatever it is. And they want all their players to go to every event for sure. But I just don't see the value of a Pro Tour Championship. I watch it every year, and I'm not nearly as on the interest level as any other tournament of the year. It's by far the tournament that I least want to watch or least care about. I care about every other tournament and the storylines in those tournaments far more than the entire Pro Tour Championship.
I think, to your point, Jeremy, your analogy of using hockey is like, it's the season. The NHL is the season. There's only one season. That's the thing they're playing for. Whereas the Pro Tour, you're playing at different events throughout the season. So each event is its own little mini NHL season, if that makes any sense. Like you're playing against different players in a tournament. Whereas in the NHL league, you're playing against different teams in the league, which lasts, I don't know, 9-10 months or whatever it lasts nowadays. So like Tim was saying about Worlds and, the Pro Tour events and all the different mini competitions, the same as in soccer. You have the league, you have the FA Cup, you have the Champions League, you have the domestic leagues. So there's different competitions that you're playing throughout the whole season, whereas hockey is just one tournament throughout the whole season. Disc golf is the same thing. You're playing these mini tournaments throughout the season. So I think that's where I get and I think we could also talk about when you're watching coverage, do you want to see the 4 best people on the lead card, or do you want to see a Tristan Tanner, a Cole Redallen, a Jeremy Colling, and a Gannon Burr on that lead card, or do you want to see Gannon, Ricky, AB, and Paul, or whoever, the top 4 every week in, week out, because they know that's what's going to attract eyes. Personally, I think once you've watched a few events, it gets a little bit tiring seeing the same people every week play this, the same type of shots. I'd like to see Thomas Gilbert on lead coverage, and I think it's good when, like we've seen before, where Chantel has been on lead coverage because it's been a Prodigy sponsored event, so she gets that exemption and she gets put onto that lead card coverage, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to think where we're at is that the purple shirts are in one camp and the blue shirt is in another camp. But one thing I don't want to gloss over while we're on it is that you put up one of Dina's comments, and I don't think we got a chance to address it. Do you want to throw that one back up there?
That was the D-Glow MVP Open, or great tournaments. But
because I'm wondering what Tim thinks about that.
Yeah.
I just don't see them as playoffs. I just don't see them as playoffs. Like, I just think, I think of MVP Open as MVP Open.
Standalone. Yeah.
That
I will agree with you on. That is alone is its own important tournament.
It's Maple Hill. Like, when players are talking about that tournament, they're not talking about I'm really excited to play the playoffs. No, they're excited to play Maple Hill. They know that tournament because they want to play that course. And I think that's where I really just the tournament rather than the playoffs to finish. I don't know. I just think these tournaments that associate with these courses and the legacy that they build over time. Who doesn't in the disc golf community know USDGC as at Winthrop? That's just legacy. So I think that's where I come from with that.
Yeah. One thing I would add, and I forget the actual tournament, and I know it doesn't happen all the time, but if you wanted to see, you're talking about that fantasy or fairy tale where you might see a Parker Welk going up against a Gannon Burr or whatever, that reminds me of when Parker Welk won that competition. He came out of nowhere. Nobody knew who he was. It's this kid playing out of his mind, making all these putts, won the tournament. Okay, we haven't seen that so much recently, but that was your fairy tale story that can happen in its own individual tournament.
Absolutely. Individual players can just have the greatest weekend on the course of their lives. And it still makes for such great stories. And I think we probably could sit here and figure out the last 5 USDGC winners between the 3 of us. And I maybe remember the Pro Tour champions. I know Ricky won one, I think 2 of the last 5, maybe.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think it just doesn't mean enough.
So maybe do you think, because I'm going to always go back to NHL because we're in Canada and that's what we're going to do, right? So when you go there are the trophies that get awarded at the end of the year, right? And you get your points leader trophy, right? You get that type of thing. But what if we went and we looked at the tournaments and, like you said, is pick the ones that are those epic stellar ones like MVP Open, and you have that collection of them. And then depending on how you place in those specific, like the majors, whatever it is, that is your winner. Is that your winner of the year? So you've got your points leader for the year, and then you've got your winner. I'm grasping at straws here now, guys.
I just think this play it straight up. Like some tournaments should be worth more than others, and whoever has the most points at the end of the year, which I think you should end on a high note, like an MVP or a USDGC. Just end with your best tournament, and your points winner is your points winner. Plain and simple. I don't think we need to overthink it.
Exactly.
That's I value your opinion, but you're wrong.
No, I have the button, Jeremy.
Oh, I thought I pressed it. All right. I think do we bleed that one dry, Daryl?
I think we did. I think we.
Do we have time?
We're not going to fix it. I know we're not going to. No one's going to listen to us anyway. But I think 2-1 we beat you, so that's that's where we sit on that.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Jeremy, we're getting on to 9:40 here. Do we want to wrap things up? Do we want to end on anything else you've got written down here? We had a lot of topics to discuss, and it took you 30 minutes to open a pack of cards. So
I think we could. I don't know. We should let the Patreon community here let us know what they think, because if they enjoyed that, man, I like that. That came up with some conversation topics that we didn't even think we were going to come up with, right? So,
and I think this is what, like you said, as we find our voice on this around the basket, like what do we want it to be? I think that's where I always saw it going, was having discussions. And then I forget who it was that mentioned it. Somebody mentioned it at the AGM, is that we can have because my whole thing was Chain Up podcast. We're about Canadian disc golf, so that's what we need to be. We could be tenuous, like you've said before, is that we could always interview an MP or FPO from the States and be like, oh, remember that one time 5 years ago you played in Canada, how was it? There's always a way that we can to draw it back to that. But I think this part of the podcast, this Around the Basket, is a free-for-all. I think we talk about anything and everything. I don't think there needs to be a limit on anything Canadian. So I like the things that we're doing and we're talking about in this episode.
Yeah,
well, and I think I want to go ahead, Tim.
You could have good organic discussion, this sidebar on sidebar on sidebar, and it could be about anything. It'll you can let it get out of hand.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to finish off with something though, Daryl. I think we can do this, and I kind of throwing this on you. If you tell me we can't, then we can't. But are you able to screen share?
I can screen share. What do you want me to screen share?
Okay, Tim, have you heard of Discdle yet? You
No.
haven't heard of Discdle. Do you know what Wordle is?
Yeah.
Okay, so there is one out there, and I've played it, and I haven't played it in a while, but it's called Discdle. And what we have to do is we have the same kind of setup as Wordle, where you're trying to guess a disc. And I want us to do it as a group, is what I want us to do. So if Daryl can put it up, it's called discdle.com or Discdle Live, something like that, Daryl, if you can find that website.
Yeah, I've got it. Discdle.com. I'm just trying to figure out which screen I need to get my...
I'm totally throwing them right on the fly here. This is how much of a tech amazing genius he is. Well, I think it's www.discdle.
No, I have it. I just need to get my I need to share the right window. That's all I need to do, Jeremy.
All right. Is there some that we don't want to share?
No. Like if I share it, it's just my desktop at the moment. So that's not what I want to share. Not anything nefarious.
Well, he says that.
This is
now becoming Chain Out After Hours, Tim.
So look, it's just a background. It's just a desktop, but I need to get it onto Discdle, but I can't seem to get it across into the right tab.
What happens if I share a screen? Can I do that? We won't do this for too long.
No,
it says I can share screen on the bottom.
Oh, you can try.
Okay, let me see if I can share screen. Share screen. There it is. Don't tell me I can do it quicker than you. Do we have it?
We have you.
No, I have it, but it's in a different window. Hang on, no, stay there. I'll do it. I just need to reassign it to guest one. There you go.
Ah, there we go.
Got there in the end. This makes for great audio. Okay, so Discdle, we get 6 guesses. We have the box where we get to enter a disc, and then it says disc underneath it with the 5 letters MSGTF.
Manufacturer. Is that what the M is?
Oh, okay. Manufacturer, speed, glide, turn, and fade.
Oh, it's the manufacturer, then classic disc numbers.
So I don't get it. Is
Okay.
it giving us the manufacturer, or like what does that mean? Oh, does that get revealed after every guess?
I think so. So I think we should try. I don't know. I'm gonna put a random disc out there to just try with. Just like think of one off the top of my
Oh
head.
yeah,
Maybe
just
like the
don't think about it. Just
Firebird.
fire. Okay,
Yeah.
Firebird. Where did you pull that from?
Oh, I have an extensive knowledge of discs in the back of my head.
Right, I've never heard of that one before. Firebird, Jeremy.
Okay.
There it
And
is.
now we'll see if we got the speed or the glide or Eddie or the manufacturer.
Okay,
We
so we
got
got
the manufacturer
manufacturer right. Okay,
So we
so
know it's Innova.
speed is down. So what does that mean? Does that mean? Hang on, what's the arrows mean? If a flight number is off by more than 3, the space will be gray instead of yellow.
Okay.
Arrows pointing up means more of something. Arrows pointing down means less of something.
Okay, so that means this. So we have the speed way off, and it's a 9 speed.
Right.
So it's got to be much slower. So maybe like
Glide is within 3.
but the glide has
so-
got to be higher.
Yeah.
So it's got to be. But the speed, or but the manufacturer, so it's got to be Innova.
Innova,
So it's-
slower speed by more than... So go back to the clues again, Jeremy. What did gray mean? Yellow was off by more than 3. Gray was... If the flight number is off by more than 3, it'll be gray instead of yellow.
So within
gray,
3 yellow.
So yeah, yellow is within 3. Gray is more than 3.
So it's going to be a mid-range then, because Mako is a 5 glide, right? 5500.
Yeah. Do we want to... Well, no, because the
So-
glide and turn and fade
Yes,
are
well,
less than
it wouldn't-
3 off.
Yeah.
So
it
if the
wouldn't be a
fade was
Mako.
4 on a Firebird, it wouldn't be yellow because it would be 0. So it'd be more than 4. It'd be gray.
maybe a
What about T-Bird?
rock.
Or... A rock or... Okay, let's try rock. Let's see where we go with that. Okay. So this needs to be higher speed. So
So it's
what
got to be
about leopard? 6?
leopard. I think
Because the
7
speed needs to be
maybe?
higher than a 4.
Yeah.
Glide was higher than a 4. Hang on, go back to the thing. So the glide needs to be... Jeremy, get up. Glide needs to be higher than a 4. Speed needs to be
So-
higher than a 4. Turn
Yeah.
needs to be higher than a 0. And the fade needs to be lower than a 3. So
So
something,
it's pretty
something...
understable.
I would say T-Bird.
I thought T-Birds were like 9 speed. I thought they were
No,
like
7.
really 7. I'll try it.
7502. T-Bird 3 is 8. Go
I keep
T-Bird.
thinking T-Birds are 9 speeds.
Okay.
Ooh.
So we got it's a 7 speed. No, sorry, manufacturer. It's less than... So it's in between a 4 and a 7 speed.
It's a 6 or a 5.
The
We
glide
got
is
the glide
right, so it's a 5 right, and it's a 2 turn. So...
How about a J? What's a J?
J
is
is
a J like
5401, I believe.
5401.
That could
sounds
work. Oh no, it needs to be
won't work with
something
the glide.
02. Yeah, the fade needs to be a 2.
I'm trying to think of other Innova mid ranges.
Oh, you know what? I kind of cancelled out the chat, so maybe we should check the chat to see if anybody else has some comments here.
No one's helping, and Jeremy hasn't helped
Oh.
a wink yet.
Thanks, Dina. Dina's signing off. She enjoyed listening to us while she's been dyeing some discs, which is now off to her bedtime. So thank you, Dina. We'll see you next week.
So if the turn has to be up, does that mean it has a positive turn?
Yeah, but that would only be a Toro. But that wouldn't be... What does yellow?
Within 3.
So far, the turn has to go up on every guess that we've made. I'm guessing because Jeremy's sharing his screen, we can't hear him. That's why he's
Oh,
Yeah, I
he's
think
probably
his
shouting
microphone's
about the
off.
answer.
Which I think is one of the better features of this game.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're having a real vibe all of a sudden. Why did that
Yeah.
happen?
So,
Um, I
okay,
think
Jeremy, get out of
Toro.
this. Get out of the guess box. We need to keep seeing the arrows to
Yeah,
remind
yeah, yeah.
ourselves. So it's got to be less than a 7, but higher than a 4. So you, like you said, I mean, it could be. No, it can't be Mako because the 2 is right,
Yeah, the 2 is right.
but slower than a 7 speed. So I'm thinking Mako. I'm thinking J. I'm thinking Leopard.
Try maybe we
It.
should try leopard. Maybe we should try it. Oh, and it is a good idea. Maybe we should try it just to see if we can get a different green.
You want to try an it?
Let's try an it. They don't even have it.
Oh,
It's not even in there.
it doesn't. It's not case sensitive, right? It's not capital I, capital T, or dot. Is it I? No, it's not I dot because it's it. No. Okay, so not an it, but I mean an it. I think is 5 something, and a leopard 3 is 6. Mako, leopard, J. What else would be in that 5 to 6 range? Because the speed has to be lower.
What's that one? Is it like a rat?
Oh, yeah, I'm not familiar with a rat.
Oh, man.
Jeremy put in a shark to start, but I don't know what the speed of a shark is. I know that's one of the starter discs.
Yeah, it might be because like it is slower. Put a shark in. Let's see what it gives us. Let's just see if it gives us anything.
Didn't even know
If
there
it's
was
a shark,
for-
I'll be.
Just a shark.
If it is a shark, I'll just give up.
Yeah, Jeremy's already played. Oh no, glide is off.
Yeah. Okay. So shark didn't help.
Okay, 4402. Okay, that's. I can, like you said, Mako's 5500. A leopard, I think, is 65 minus 21.
We haven't got the.
Does the up arrow on the turn mean it's negative? So it's not
Or-
positive. So it's more negative. So in other words, it's a -1 or a -2. In which case it could be a leopard.
Yeah, I mean, try it. Put a leopard, and again, see. Even if it's not 100% correct, we can maybe see if we can get another green out of it.
Yes. Just go. I'll let you pick leopard or leopard 3.
He's gonna go leopard 3.
No, fade is out.
Still don't have it. Oh, Janice says a skeeter is closest, but not quite. And look at okay, so for -2, it says now the turn is down, so that would mean that it's a positive turn.
Or would it be -1? Did we go too far?
Or did we go too far? And this is our last guess.
Yeah, we only get 6 guesses. When do we want to reveal a hint? Do we want a hint, or do you just want to time out?
Oh, I didn't realize there was a. Yeah, I'd love a hint. Speed 5, thanks.
I mean, a
could've figured
Mako, a J. Those are 2 5 speeds that I can think of.
I mean, maybe just put a J in there and let's just see.
Or is it J4? No, I'm pretty sure J is 5. Go for it. Let's try J. What did we get? Oh,
We got the speed right.
5 4. So does it tell
whatever
us what it
is,
was?
It's a cobra.
A cobra. 5
I wasn't
5
gonna.
-1 2.
I never would have guessed it.
I wouldn't
Never
have
would
guessed
gotten
that.
a cobra.
A V cobra.
Nah, I wasn't getting that.
I mean, it's a good game. I like it.
Oh yeah, I like it too. I would play that again. I'll probably play that tomorrow, but I was never gonna get that.
Yeah. Give me a second, Jeremy. I'll bring you back.
Oh my gosh, you guys are killing me.
Were you shouting at us? Would you have guessed
know.
Cobra?
I didn't know it was a cobra, but I'm like, when I'm listening to you guys like ramble on about the turn and stuff, I'm like highlighting it. I'm like, guys, it says more turn, more turn.
But what does more turn? Like Tim was saying, does more mean positive or more means negative?
more means negative. If you want it to turn more, you need a higher negative number, right? And it kind of said it there. But I'm sorry, guys. It was unfortunate that I was muted, but it was also very entertaining to listen to you.
Just to see our brain how we can try and deduct the right disc.
Well, it's funny how you get stuck on a disc. You know, we were like, J? Is it a J? Maybe it's a Mako. Is it a J? Maybe a Mako. J?
Yeah, I know it's a leopard. It could be leopard. No, it could be a J. It could be a J.
Well, I think the thing is like I found out about it when it first came out, and I started playing it a little bit early on. I think it might have been a little bit easier, but I had some where it gets difficult in the fact that there's sometimes some manufacturers, and Innova's one of them, they have 2 discs with the same numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
So it will tell you that. And I guess that the one time it's like, yeah, sorry, this isn't the one.
This isn't one of the 2
we were looking for.
Yeah.
Because it's got everything is right on the bottom, but you still aren't right yet. So.
And with Innova as well.
Yeah,
like
that comes out every day, just like Wordle. So you can play it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And with Innova as well, they have such a big selection of discs, right? It's not like we're going to Castoplast or like a smaller brand with not too many discs to choose from. So yeah, it's
Flash
hard.
discs or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do also tell you, I think there's a spot where they tell you the manufacturers, but that didn't matter to us because we got that right away. But yeah, we did it, guys. We outlasted the guests, and that's what the goal is of this episode. So
Yeah.
or not the guests, see, we outlasted the listeners. So
Yeah.
Too funny.
Yeah. So that's
awesome.
Well, thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. That was awesome. I don't know, Daryl, how did you feel about that?
No, I enjoyed it. I think Tim was a great guest, because we could have just looked at those cards and we could have just been, okay, Colruyt Allen, Rebecca Cox, Sarah Holcomb. But for Tim to grab those little things and like to pick up points and then great talking points. What do you think about earpods? Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like with the fantasy episode. He kind of helped us find the voice of the fantasy episode. Is he finding the voice of Around the Basket now?
Well, I will say that the name of the show resembles my putt, which is Around the Basket. So.
Speaking of putters, I have tried. I picked up 2 new discs. I got a Firefly and an Arrow. Arrow seems to be working pretty good for me.
Okay.
Yeah, you were killing it at Baker with that.
Yeah.
Did you guys enjoy those Calgary courses? Did you just play Baker?
We just played Baker. We only had time for the one course, and half the time there spent shoveling the tee pads because we had that big snowstorm before we got a chance to get out there. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's always good to play a new course. I seen Joe Henderson just posted the front 9 of her playing back in the summertime. I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was a Mando on that hole, so we totally didn't play that Mando on hole 1, Jeremy.
I didn't even know there was one. No.
Winter rules, exactly. There you go.
Winter rules. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. No, well, I appreciate you guys having me on, and like I said, anything to stay ahead of the amount of times Brock is on, I'm happy to join. You just let me know, and I'll be here. And I just appreciate everything you guys do, from supporting the club to supporting just disc golf around Canada. You guys are just absolutely crushing it. Like, kudos to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Normally at this point we would say, do you have anything to shout out? Normally we've got some Edgar news or something like that, but
no, I got nothing to show.
See you out there on the course, hey?
Yes, see everyone out there. I'll probably be at putting league, and I'll probably, if there's the training camps, I'll probably be there. I'll be taking it all in as usual, but I'll be there as a participant as opposed to an organizer.
Awesome.
Thanks, Tim. We appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys.
Okay, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for all the Patreon subscribers that have joined us here in the chat. Jan is also in the chat as well, joined a little bit late, but thank you. We appreciate you. Thanks to Dina and to Brock as well for joining in. And he knows what
we can do it for Tim, hey?
We've got to. Yeah. There's only one thing left to do.
And that's
chain out! Thanks everybody.